Nearly. Are we live? Yeah. This paper's like I'm waffling. Michael Vallance. Pleasure. Thank you for coming, mate. Thank you for coming. Short notice. For those listening, we have a laptop. A laptop records a live stream for YouTube, and I thought, well, what normally happens is I glance at the laptop to see how good I'm looking, and it means I'm not looking at the guests. I thought I'll cover the laptop. I'm never looking good, by the way. I'll cover the laptop with a piece of paper, and it's white paper, and I can see myself through it, so I just have to ignore it and assume I'm looking really good. We need to do something beforehand. Before we even do an introduction, last week, Tony Lewis, no, it wasn't last week, it was the week before last. Tony gave me a copy of Private Chris Burtonshaw's Afghan Diary, which I put on Facebook, and I thought, well, fantastic piece of kit, fantastic read. I found it, even just the first page. When I wanted to give it away as a competition, and I went on to Facebook. I thought, like I normally do, I thought I'll do a Facebook live, a Facebook video. Got to give away. I was sort of in my head rehearsing it in my head as I was looking at the book, and I thought I'll read out the first page of the book because it's a really good. It's why he wrote it, dedicated to his children. And every time I was reading it, doing the intro in my head, I started welling up. It was just so emotional, like knowing what the diary contains, and I ended just writing at the end. And I've waffled. The giveaway was just for our Patreon supporters. So, in true spirit of the podcast, to make it truly random and bizarre. Not really. I've written all their initials down on a piece of paper.
A very nicely cut piece of paper, if
but I thought I'd do it with you. You can verify they're all there. So I'm going to read them all out so that not the names, but so you know. We got JB, we got DH, JV, GG, KL, DW, JM, FG, NM, MP, MV, SH, and PS. Who's PS? I'm going to scrub these up. I'm going to scrub them up, and I'm going to shake them about my hand, and then you're going to pick one of them, Michael, and then you're picking the winner, and then that person will get sent the diary. We'll do this really quick. We can crack on with the podcast. But I didn't want to not do it. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I got busy, so we're all doing some stuff. Have you read the diary?
I have.
I haven't done it all yet. Again, one of those reasons is just flipping heck.
It's one of those pieces of writing that once you start, it's very, very difficult to put it down.
Yeah. I did that with I hardly read anything military now, for various reasons. I did that with what's the book? Adam Jowett's book. He did a book about Musakala, and it's called No Way Out. And I thought, I'm not going to read it because I'll read it and I'll see something. And maybe it won't be that accurate. I'll be wrong, and it just annoy me because I know better because I was there. And then Max Arthur rang me up, the military historian, the most. I think he's the most successful military historian, British military historian. He's a friend of mine, and he rang me up and said, "Have you read the book?" I said, "What book?" And he said, "No Way Out." I said, "No." He said, "I recommend you read it." And he sort of, in the process of conversation, he persuaded me. 10 o'clock the night I started it. About 1 a.m. nearly completed. I couldn't put it down like a diary, you know. Anyway, waffling again. Right, they're all scrubbed up. This is for all the Patreon supporters. So this is a big thank you. A lot of our giveaways will be for the Patreon supporters because they help us keep going along with other people. It's this very, very, very nice, generous gesture to support us on Patreon. So I'd like to reward you guys, not just with the podcast, but with other things where I can. With giveaway stuff. Michael, in fact, the guest today is provided more stuff to give away, which I'm sure you'll come on to. Right, here we go. Shocking stuff. Anyone, pick one.
It's high tension stuff, this, isn't it? There we go. We've got a winner.
If it's a certain winner, it can't be a winner.
Indeed.
Who is it?
Just bear with me while I
certain initials I can read out.
So we'd like to read the initials?
Yeah, go on.
Are we ready? Drum roll?
Yeah.
PS.
I can't think of PS is. PS. Congratulations, PS. Who's PS? I probably know them.
It's not upside down, is it?
No, it's not.
Like
no, yeah.
SB.
No, it's PS. PS, well done. You're in a copy of Burtonshaw's diary. I will message you on Patreon and you will send me your address, please. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Right, that is it. Michael Vallance. Why are you here? Founder of Rugby for Heroes, Leamington. I'm saying that deliberately because there's 2 Rugby for Heroes. I didn't realise. You got the charity and you got your organisation.
That's right, yeah.
And well, I got connected with you through Tony Lewis. We met up at the 353 event, didn't we?
That's right, yes.
So you've got no military background, correct?
Not directly, no.
Okay, so you never served?
No, I didn't serve.
No. So what? You're one of the founders of Rugby for Heroes.
That's right. Yeah.
Where did the motivation come from with that?
Number of reasons.
Mhm.
I mean, by way of kind of background, I have sort of 3 generations of my family who served. So
Mhm.
my great grandfather served in the First World War. My grandfather was in the Second World War with the Royal Marines. My father and my stepfather both served, did national service, in the Royal Air
Mhm.
Force and in the Army. So I got a lot of, I suppose, legacy and sort of values passed down from all those people. Particularly my grandfather was very close to. So if we fast forward to
You say your grandfather was Marines
Royal Marines,
back
that's
in the
correct.
Second World
Yes,
War.
correct.
When
Yeah,
you
he was
first
in
started out.
4-1 Commando. He was in, yes. Yeah.
Ninjas.
Yeah, I mean, he was signed up in 1940
Mhm.
when he was 34 years of age.
Mhm.
Um, Ended up being a captain, served in the Mediterranean, served then at the Normandy landings,
Mhm.
and at the campaign they did to open up the estuary leading up to the port of Antwerp. So after
Mhm.
they captured it, they had to clear the estuary, and the Royal Marines and the Canadians had a very, very tough operation. And he was on a landing craft support ship, so they were
Mhm.
providing kind of air cover for the guys who were waiting in on the shore. So he went right the way through 1945, and then he was demobbed and went back to live a very quiet and peaceful life
Mhm.
the rest of his life.
Was he local to you?
No, he was actually from Lancashire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a man of Blackpool,
Mhm.
and he said lived a life which involved a lot of fishing, and just general enjoying the peace. He
Mhm.
was got a sense into it. He never really told me anything about his military service, and I found out all about what he'd done and where he'd been after he died. Because my
Mhm.
grandmother gave me a folder and said,
Ah,
"Here you go, do with this what you can." And so I
yeah.
pieced together everything from
So,
the back of that.
Second World War Marines. Was that? Am I correct in saying it was the Cockle Shell Heroes? Is that where all that
I
came
think
from?
so. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was kind of like the commandos, and I believe they all went through the sort of a similar training
Mhm.
regime, which involved time up in Scotland,
Mhm.
and also he. The interesting thing is, of course, at that time, a lot of the guys were just shown as being posted to bases.
Mhm.
So you have to really dig into where they would have actually been, where would they serve.
Mhm.
So I mean, the MOD were really helpful, actually, just helping me pin things down,
Oh, so
and
you only
also
did a
one of
lot
the
of
charities.
research then, as well
Yeah,
as
I
well
did.
as the stuff
Yeah,
you don't give you.
yeah. Also, one of the charities, the Soldiers Charity, who we support, the Army Benevolent Fund, as they used to be
Mhm.
called, they had a historian on their books, and he was absolutely terrific
Mhm.
in finding out information, both for my grandfather actually and my great grandfather. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
so I have that kind of those values, that history in the family, and although I went into kind of industry myself for my career, it's always something that's interested me.
Mhm.
And back to your question about why Rugby for Heroes, how did we get started on it? Well, in 2008, the son of one of my friends, he was killed in Afghanistan serving. He was attached to para, served with
With Joe.
Joe Whittaker.
Mhm.
Yeah, and a friend of mine and I were down at the Health for Heroes game at Twickenham that year when they were really sort of ramping up their fundraising activities. Had a terrific day. You know what it's like. You go out and have a few drinks. All the best ideas come out after a few drinks. And we're on the train back up to Warwickshire. Long emotional train ride, and after quite a lot to drink at Twickenham, and we got talking about what if our local community rugby club in Leamington could actually do something. Obviously, not on the same scale as the massive endeavour they did at Twickenham, but what if we could just do something to show some support, really, for the families of those who were killed in action, those who were serving,
Mhm.
so that we could try and send a message that although we're not there on the front line, we could still do something to support.
Mhm.
So when that after Joe was sadly killed, the following May, we planned to do an end of season fundraiser, basically for a couple of charities in his memory, and that's how it all started. It started off with a day of rugby, a bit of live music, a bit of food, had the bar open, drinking for charity, that kind of concept, great rugby values, and that's how it all started. It was about that kind of what can we just do to show support, to show that we're thinking
Mhm.
of people who are serving away back home, looking out for their loved ones and so on.
Mhm. How often do you do the festivals, the rugby festivals?
So we got into a groove with the Rugby for Heroes Festival of doing one a year, and
Mhm.
we'd always do it on the same weekend in May,
Okay.
so that people would start to get to know that the event was on,
Mhm.
and that we could start to build up something that was really meaningful and would make a big difference.
Mhm.
So yeah, once a year basically.
Which weekend in May is it?
So the second weekend of May. So after typically the May bank holiday, we always wanted to steer clear also of the Army and Navy fixture. So for obvious reasons, you steer clear of that one, steer clear of the bank holiday, and then it's always has been the second weekend of May.
Why why do you, why Old Leamingtonians? Is that because from your growing up around you and your connection to the club, or what is your connection to the club?
So my connection with the club is we moved out of London, living directly in London in the mid-90s, and first thing I did, apart from move house, get the family settled in, was find a rugby club. So rugby fan, and I played rugby from mini rugby days basically. So I don't know if you found this with your rugby interest. The first thing I'd always try and find anywhere I live would be to where's the local rugby community at.
Mhm.
So went and joined on Leamingtonians in the mid-90s, and played a few seasons before I sort of hung my boots up in a playing capacity, and then sort of started to do other things to support the club. But it's a really really interesting club. It's founded in the early 30s, linked to Leamington Boys College. It was the boys' college sort of rugby club, and then became the old boys rugby club as guys started to leave, and then wanted to carry on with rugby. And there are two rugby clubs in Leamington's Old Leamingtonians and Leamington RFC, the original town club. And Old Leamingtonians attracted me because the moment I walked in there, people were friendly and they were welcoming. And a pint was produced from behind the bar while I was signing my membership form. So it was just instant welcome.
Instant welcome. When we went there after that show with 10, Tonya, the Saturday after coincidentally happened to be, which I didn't know about it until he mentioned it on the show, was that that festival.
Comrades Ride,
Comrades Ride, yeah. And the club just had that feel. I agree with you. I just walked in, and we got there. Myself and the missus got there early, or quite early, and so it wasn't the bar. The bar was just about to open, but it was just nice. It just old rugby club,
Yeah.
Everyone knows those kinds, and there were nice people there, and that was a good day. It was a good day actually. It was a good day. But I've not really. I mean, around this area, I've not really been here long. I've not managed to dig into any of the clubs. In fact, that's probably the first place I've been is Old Leamingtonians. Right. First place I've been, but is there a club in Warwick?
There used to be. Used to be. Sadly, it closed down.
Yeah.
And the second club in Warwick also closed down. So what you're tending to find now in community rugby clubs that some of the very very small ones, say with a single team or two, they just unfortunately aren't able to sustain the running costs. And at Old Leamingtonians, we're incredibly fortunate because we've got rugby from the age of 6 up to veterans, with boys and girls playing. We've got 3 senior men's teams turn out. We've got a fantastic ladies squad that has been going for 30 years. We've got probably one of the longest serving ladies squads in the county and probably in the country. Actually, it's been a really 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 strong thing. And our mini and junior section is something that we're super proud of, because we've got hundreds and hundreds of kids coming up from the age group of 6 up to 16, then into Colts rugby. So we've managed to build and sustain a strong membership. And as you say, you've seen the club, you've seen what it's like. It is welcoming. We have, a good stock of senior rugby pitches, which is one of the reasons why we've been able to hold a festival there, because when you're running it, you need space.
How many
capacity? There's 4 senior pitches.
Yeah.
You then have a full training area facility. You've got then mini and junior pitches as well. So, we've been very blessed with a fantastic set of facilities, partly because the club took the decision back in the 1970s to relocate out of a town centre location, sell the land, buy some agricultural land, and then
so where was it before then?
So it was right in the town centre in Leamington Spa, in the ground there was called the Crofts, and it was an area called Cloister Crofts. So it's on one side of the town, as if you were going out towards the A46 dual carriageway. But yeah, I mean, beautiful place. There's a cricket club still there at the moment in the town. So yeah, so it kind of, we've really been able to, I suppose, me as a club member, we've been able to kind of sustain and build membership across all spectrums, really. And it's one of the things you have to do to survive and prosper these days as a community rugby club. Costs go up every year, and you have to be able to generate, the income.
Do they still do? This makes me smile. Do they still do? It must be like a rugby wide club thing. After the match, where they go and does the hosting club put on a scarf and a drink for both the teams?
Absolutely.
My God,
absolutely.
When you say that, I got involved in football, youth football for a while. I have a clue. I'll watch a big football match. An international if interests me. I'll watch England. Okay, I apologise to our Welsh family and friends who who will hate me for saying that, but Scully, I'll watch England when they play. I enjoy it, but I'd never been involved in sort of club football. Didn't have a clue how it worked. Um, but then it was about, well, it must have been 3 or 4 years ago, and my daughters got into it. Their mum's side of the family, big footballers, so they wanted to do it. So you crack on, and I ended up being the child welfare, the club welfare officer. I've got a health and safety background, and sort of so they needed someone. I stepped into that, and ended up coaching. But I didn't have a clue. Oh my god! When my eldest went from, I think it was year, I think it was age 12 under. I think it was from under 11s to under 12s, or under 12s to under 13s, one or the other. The offside rule started, and the first match of the season, they asked me to run the line. I thought I knew the offside rule. I thought I knew it. And I put my flag up for offside. Put your flag up for it. Offside, so you can't have offside from a throw in. No, I didn't realise it. My eldest daughter's got her head in her hands going, oh my God, Daddy. But what really surprised me when I go into that side of things, and let's take a backtrack. What annoys me about football, and this isn't, I'm not a rampage about football. I love it. What a great game. It is a great game. I can see why it's so popular to watch. It's just a great game, okay? I prefer rugby. That's because I brought up rugby. Football is a good game, great game to watch, addictive. But when I started getting the youth football, like I could see where all of the problems was, a lot of the problems could be solved in the adult world when we're talking about hooliganism and horrendous supporters. Yeah, we get a lot of good supporters, well behaved, but the reputation for football sports to be complete flipping idiots. I can see where a lot of the problems could be solved at the grassroots, because I've gone off on the right tangent here, but when money, 6 years old, my youngest daughter is 6 years old, right? When she wanted to change clubs, there was a transfer fee between clubs. 6 years old, right? The subs that they have to pay, all clubs, whatever sport, have to pay subs in some way, pay money in some way, or raise money in some way, shape, or form. Rugby clubs and football clubs, the subs to pay that. But then there's transfer fees between clubs. You get fees for going to different craziness at 6 years old. So 6 years old, a factor in who you play for and what you do at 6 is money. Money. So when you get up the chain to the football and you're asking, and you got players who are earning, God knows. I mean, I don't near and flipping thousand, like what, $250,000 a week, somewhere on. Is that correct? And they're on the pitch, and that's the main motivation, money. Yes, they enjoy the game, but because their heart sort of isn't in it 100% from the start, the motivation's for the wrong reasons. And then you're asking the supporters to behave and not be hooligans and all that in the stands. But then the idols they look at on the pitch, because they haven't been sort of brought up from grassroots with your motivation should be to play for your team, play to help friends out, play to win, and we're not play to earn money or play. You want to play because you enjoy it, and for nothing else. That's what should be at the bottom. Don't get me wrong. At the career end, it's got to be for it's going to be for money. You need a career, but then you're on the pitch because of that thing and other mitigating factors. They're going off at the referee. They're flipping, giving each other crap, and they get away with it. So they've got a complete disregard for authority. And at the same time, you're asking the hooligans, the supporters, to behave when their idols they watch have got a complete disregard. It just winds me up. It really opened my eyes. I really didn't like it. Like the girls playing, but the money involved from that early on, and all that money involved. I think the league that they were playing with. I can't remember the league. If I could remember it, I would name it anyway. They had in the bank something to the tune of 50 or 60K, and been building up over a number of years. And I went to a league meeting where all of the coaching staff and managers and stuff went across and had a league meeting. And one of the questions that came up, and apparently it comes up every year, is what are we going to do with the money this year? You don't do anything with it. It sits in the bank, just rolls up. What's happening with all the money? Do you know what you don't get at football matches? You don't get burger and chips after. The two teams are going to sit down with each other. Very few of them have a clubhouse. There's nothing. They don't have anything. Yeah, there's so much money in youth football compared to youth rugby. Where does it go? You can compare up to the league, up the chain to the league, or up the chain wherever it goes. It doesn't sit with the clubs. So again, from that side of things, which is why I mean, rugby supporters are revered around the world. You can have a South African supporter next to a Welsh supporter in the stands. You can have a Gloucester supporter next to a flipping Wasp supporter in the stand, and drinking, drunk as you like. Very little chance of any issue happening. Because from grassroots up, the end of the game's finished. You could have been scrapping on the pitch. You could have been really close game. It could have been for the club. Afterwards, you're in the same clubhouse, burger and chips, squash. The kids don't have to pay for anything. It's all provided for. And there's less money in that rugby than there is in football. Where's all the money for football going? It could solve so much more. Just be nicer. Stick burger and chips on it. It'll solve all the problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Or
It's true, isn't it?
pasta or something like that. But
Yeah.
something should be done. I mean,
Is it healthy? You say pasta then? Is it healthy meals now? Is it?
But yeah, it depends. It depends who's cooking. But again, the couple of things to say. I mean, that culture of welcoming and respect is like at the heart of rugby values, and particularly in the community game, the amateur game still. And that means that when you have a team visiting you, or when you have a series of teams visiting you, always lay some food on for them, because they may have travelled a long way. You've got people from all walks of life, playing rugby, and we come together in the sport. But hospitality is absolutely key to it. At the same time, not just the English RFU, all of the unions publish codes and values about how they want people to perform and to do it, and respect for the officials, respect from the touch lines, runs through the core of the game. And I think when you get those values, although it's very physical, very competitive, things flare up, it very quickly settles back to just remember the core values of respect, of teamwork, of sportsmanship, and pulling together, and that's why I love the game so much. And I think that's why it's so good for young people to play it at a time when you get people getting concerned about the impact of injuries and so on and so forth. But fundamentally, it teaches so much, and people get a lot out of it. So,
is there a big drive on with youth rugby with women's teams at the minute? There is in football, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, it has been probably for the last 5 to 10 years, certainly a very fast-growing area of the game, both with 15-a-side rugby union, and also rugby sevens, which as tends to get played more in the spring and summer months because of the fast game and firm surfaces that make for great running rugby in a sevens context. But yeah, I mean, we've seen the number of players grow. We've seen new women's teams grow in the Warwickshire area, so it's certainly very, very popular. And with Warwick University being so close to us as well, there's university sports, ladies rugby growing in the university sports as well. So it's really taking off.
Warwick Uni is a big one. I haven't been there yet. I hear it's a good place. So going back to Rugby for Heroes, when did you hold your first event then? So would have been May 2010.
No, it was actually May 2009. So Joe was lost in June of 2008. Okay. We then went to the H4H game, the Health Heroes game at Twickenham, the following year, early year, and that's when we really started to plan it. So the first one we did was in May 2009, and it was literally a single day just of getting both youth teams and senior adult teams, men's and ladies, out on the park. But it was very small.
Tournament?
Yeah. We played rugby 10s actually at the senior rugby level in men's and ladies. It was rugby 10s, 10-a-side.
Yeah, I remember.
It's the ultimate social rugby, isn't it? You don't have to wheeze around the park for 80 minutes and have a really tough afternoon. Yeah. You can go on and off, and typically with 10s, it suits itself well to a pool and then a knockout format, and also typically, especially if you have got veterans, sort of veteran age over 35, which is my sort of age group these days, you get the chance to do roll on roll off subs. So the moment you're wheezing or blowing through anywhere, then you get the chance to stick your hand up and say, "Can I just have a minute off?" Yeah. But it's perfect for a tournament because it just keeps the interest levels going, and you have the ability to scale it in terms of having more and more teams in the same space that you actually run the festival on. So yeah, we run the first few years of the festival. We ran 10-a-side rugby for men's and ladies squads, and then we also started to build up the mini rugby side of the event as well. So you can only go up to a certain age group because after the end of April, the laws and the rules in the English RFU are that you have only a certain defined period of time in the year when you can play contact rugby. Typically when you get to 9 years old, you start to move away from, say, touch and tag rugby. You go to contact, but as a kind of CRB or child protection and safeguarding matter, you can then only play between certain months of the year. And because we will run our festival in May, which is beyond the end of the year, you know, A, we go and get the RFU's approval to do it, because you have to get approval, and B, you know, they would go back to revert to playing sort of touch and tag rugby. So that, you know.
So what is it, September to March or something like that?
No, it's September. Typically, you've got fixtures kicking off. You have pre-season, obviously, for training, and then a few warm-up games. But for the mini and junior side of the game, that's typically between September and April. And that pretty much coincides with the senior rugby calendar as well.
So outside of those months, you can't do contact rugby?
Not for mini and juniors.
Which is what age group?
So technically the definition is under 6 to under 16 or 17, right? So that's your age spectrum of mini and junior rugby. So first of all, you start at 6, you play touch and tag rugby to learn the basics of movement and passing and, you know, all the stuff that goes with it. Then when you get into the age group of under 9s onwards, that's when you can start to learn to tackle and play contact rugby. But that is also where you get the safeguarding coming in, and, you know, kids can't play contact rugby after the end of April. What they can do is they can play touch and tag.
What's the logic with that? I don't understand.
It is there to, and is designed to safeguard the health and wealth and well-being of kids, but physically. Also, yeah, it's about physical, you know, the physical growth, and I suppose how much rugby. I mean, this is essentially set RFU policy in England. You basically.
When did this kick in then?
I couldn't give you the exact date.
You can train through the summer, though, right?
Yeah, you can train. You can play touch, and when you get up to the senior end of rugby, you can play 7s.
But can you train contact?
No, not for kids. No. So you're having the summer off basically to
play
cricket and do other things.
Correct. Training, you can't. Okay,
that's correct.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that to 16.
Yeah, it's the rules, and it's what we've had to abide with, and it's done for consistency.
The rules. I mean, I'm surely that would. And this is coming from a guy with a health and safety background. Might be a bit of health and safety gone mad a little bit. I mean, it's accountability and all that as well. But then I can't help thinking that maybe that will that damage the development of the youth game?
It doesn't seem to do. It doesn't seem to do, because again, the other thing, of course, you can go and do at some stage over the summer is you can play 7s when you're above a certain age group. You can also play rugby league, because rugby league summer runs the way through.
So if you've no restrictions on that.
I don't know the detail of the
no, but I mean, game, so if you play that in the summer, you would.
Yeah.
So the union restriction is on contact in the union.
Yeah.
But you're going to play league, and if they're doing contact, it's different.
Yeah. But again, it's back to the age groups. I don't know how many mini and junior sides are. But I mean, the key thing for us in relating to the festival, what we did was, because we wanted to do this event and start to build it, and also because we wanted it kind of an end of season celebration as much as anything. We managed to navigate through the laws, by sort of collaborating with the RFU, you know, getting their sign off for us to do stuff, but by just structuring the weekend, because it, you know, after the first year it was one day, and then we thought, wouldn't it be great the next year? We did it in 2010. How about we make it like, you know, we start and do it on Saturday this time? So we did that. Then a few people turned up on Friday night for a few jars. Adults, obviously, not the mini juniors. And we thought, this is quite good. We can actually sort of get a bit of social crack going on the Friday, and then people play rugby on Saturday, and then have a gig on Saturday night, a few beers, and then leave on Sunday. So that's how it then started to build, you see, and we started to be able to ramp up the number of teams that would come along, and, you know, the number of adult teams that we had grew year on year on year. So I mean, for the year, the May festival from this year just gone, we had the largest number of 7s and 10s teams playing. We had 34 teams, 34 team squads come, and that was across men's, ladies, and the veterans tournament that we run every year. And you know, we were really proud of that, because again, you're back to building something from nothing. And one of the key development points for us was we went probably for the first 5 or 6 years actually just running Rugby Thames and really steering it towards community clubs. And then one of our great sponsors who supported us right the way through, a local sportswear company, not far from here actually, they came and said, had you thought about bringing the Elite Sevens tournament circuit to Leamington Spa? I thought, that's really interesting.
I've not heard of Elite Sevens before until I saw it on the website.
Yeah.
You guys.
So with Elite Sevens, again, there is a circuit of tournaments and competitions for summer sevens rugby. You know, some of the really big and popular events in the UK and Ireland are things like the Kinsale Sevens down in County Cork, lovely place, lovely, fantastic tournament. You've got the Bournemouth Sevens, which is the single largest sevens tournament with, you know, sevens rugby for men's and ladies, netball for ladies, dodgeball, you name it, and a massive rave, each night of the event is incredible. But basically what you've got is you've got squads of players coming together either to, play under charity colours or, you know, build their own Elite Sevens teams. Sometimes they get sponsorship from kit suppliers and they compete around a series of tournaments. And what we found with that sort of approach was not only could we take the standard of rugby at Rugby for Heroes up to the next level by adding Elite Sevens, it would bring extra colour and more supporters and spectators to come in. But it meant that we were seeing a standard of rugby because some of the players who do play sevens rugby at the elite competition level, play in National League One, for example, which is one step below the Premiership. So, you really are starting to ramp it up there. And of course, the sportswear company we work with, they supply a number of sevens teams and they sponsored, amongst other things, a really fantastic tournament called Summer Social, which is at Richmond the Deer Park, where London Welsh play and Richmond play.
Lovely
stunning.
Park.
Yeah, it's a lovely park, but stunning tournament. And
is it pitches? Well, there's not pitches in the park, is it?
No, they're on the adjacent to the park.
Yeah, right,
so very, very close to the park there. But when you go to one of these events and you see, the standard of rugby, but also the fact it's coming to the summer period and people are really enjoying themselves and they make a festival of it. That was another way in which we saw, we could add, Elite Sevens, the competition level, to Rugby for Heroes to give it a fresh boost. Because one of the things we learned as a team along the way was you couldn't stand still with an event like that, because the moment you just did the same thing year after year, people would lose interest. Everyone always supported the cause. And remember, and I should have probably made this point earlier, one of the real driving reasons why we set the thing up in the first place was to raise money for Forces charities, but also we wanted to provide a platform for teams affiliated with the Forces to come and play. We wanted to provide a network for the local veterans community to come along and just have a good weekend. So we tried to think about all the different drivers for doing it. And, the ramping up the rugby was just another good way. We were challenging ourselves to try and keep evolving it, to make it interesting and relevant and continue to get the guest numbers up. So,
do you ever get? Have you ever had many of the unit rugby teams down?
Yeah, I mean, we had the parachute regiment, for example. That you'd have a composite team sometimes from the different battalions would come. But we always had, especially since the sad loss of Conrad, we had a para-reg team every year composed of both Union and League players who would come along. We have with Kyneton Base being close by, and the EOD regiment, 11 EOD sent a team up a couple of years, which was terrific having those guys along. We had teams of Army veterans coming who played at a very senior level. And we had the Mighty Reds, the Army Sevens elite rugby team.
Have you heard of the military nomads?
Well, we've had a team called Nomads Rugby, but I'm not sure.
Rugby.
Yeah, there's a sevens team called the Nomads, so I'm not sure if it's the same one. But the military nomads.
The military nomads. This is now. I think it started up less than a couple of years ago, and it exists in Facebook group form.
Right.
Yeah. I've not managed to play some yet. I have to come out of retirement. But it's basically a group of ex-military rugby players all over the UK, and they try and organise. I don't know who. I wish I could remember there. I don't know who founded it. They try and organise in fact, it must be the last 8 months. Because once in a blue moon, they try and organise a match somewhere.
Yeah.
To raise money, and normally it's at a festival.
Yeah.
Normally they get organised at a festival. I think they've only played 2 matches, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's comic. I mean, I haven't played yet, but it's comical. You see it setting up. When was the last time I couldn't go and do it? But the setup is right, fellas. There's a festival on in such and such. They've agreed. The organisers agreed for us to come along and play. Amazing. Who can make it? And I remember the first time I did it, I was thinking, went to training. It's not. It's just like whoever can make it. You turn up on the day, you get chucked a jersey, and then you're on the pitch. I was thinking, oh my god, it must be
it's
madness.
Ultimate barbarian rugby.
Must be madness. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm going to walk for 2 weeks. But military nomads 15 they're called. I wonder. After this, I'll have to give the deal. Let's get along to the next one.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll talk to you a little bit about the future later on, because we're evolving and changing.
Right,
but no, I mean, we've had some great support. We had a team from Sandhurst from the Officer Cadets come up this year again, and we had a team like the military nomads coming for many years called the Army Mavericks. A lot of ex-Army veterans, rugby or Masters Rugby, level guys, who would go and play 3 or 4 fixtures a year.
Masters Rugby?
Yes, that's right.
What's the one?
Well, depending on your definition, but typically Masters Rugby takes you up even beyond 35 plus, which is your veterans tournament to level. So Masters is around the 40, 45
Okay.
level. So the Maverick guys, when they started, a lot of them had played for the Army, the actual Army veterans team, for the Army Rugby Union, and then they carried on playing. They'd still turn up with their boots, and they'd be going around, various events and having, guest matches against, teams either based at army bases or indeed, conventional rugby clubs. But that, again, that sort of spirit of carrying on playing and carrying on enjoying the game is still very strong through it. And so again, that's what we really tried to tap into. You link the concept of, we're going to run a weekend of rugby aimed at both adult, senior and junior rugby. What we can do, we're then going to wrap around it. We're going to wrap, a fantastically well-stocked bar. We're going to obviously guarantee good weather every year. We're going to put some great food on so that nobody ever goes hungry ever. We started to throw camping and glamping in, so we did glamping and camping this year.
Ask you about that,
yeah, we did that as well, and we obviously had a live music component. We tried to build up a small music festival side to it as well. So we had that, and then with a sort of a wraparound of saying this is a great family day out. We then sort of start to put other attractions on as well, fly pasts, helicopter flyings, things like that, just to again make it interesting, make it different every
I
day.
saw the Red Devils jumped in at one of them.
Yeah, they did. They finally got in this year. This was their second attempt, and they did it. They were amazing. They came in the it had been a brilliant day all day. Then an hour before they're due to jump, bloody clouds started rolling in, and then a few spots of rain came, and they went and they passed over probably 7 or 8 times, and then they all shot out the back of the Antonov aircraft they were in very, very fast.
Antonov?
Yeah, they were in an old Antonov.
Really?
Yep.
Goodness me.
Yep.
Who provides the kit for the glamping then?
Well, we worked with, most of the time what we just organised was we organised like an adult camping zone. People bring your own stuff. And we did a separate sort of family camping area so that people could get some sleep or have kids in one place, and then you have all the noisy rugby teams in another place. This year, we worked with a really great company down based around the Bournemouth area who were recommended to me, and we got in touch with them, gone, like a house on fire straight away. And what they did, because they already had credentials in supplying glamping tents, bell tents basically, that were kitted out with everything you needed. They did it for the Bournemouth Sevens, they did it for Le Mans, they did it for the British Grand Prix. They did a lot of festivals, and you had instant confidence.
Who's the company?
The company's called Honeybells.
Honeybells.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah.
It does remind you somewhat of perhaps a glamorous dancer, sort of like a strapline nickname, but definitely not that. Fantastic group of people based down in Bournemouth. Absolutely amazing. Can't speak highly enough of them in terms of the way they do it. And what they do is not only do they come and bring along and set up and basically run a glamping site for you, they take all the bookings. So they administer the whole thing. So again, when you're organising a festival like that, and remember, we're all volunteers, right? None of us do this as a full-time job. Having somebody who can run that for you, and given that we had people who would come up from London, especially for the weekend, didn't necessarily want to go to a hotel but wanted somewhere nice to stay. It was right in their price point, really, and right in the sort of sweet spot for them. So we did really well. We had 25, 26 glamping tents sold. So
they just take a spot on the fields and put the tent up.
Yeah, so basically, you can either have it, and we set up a camping area for people just pitch up and park up.
Our club's perfect there for being.
But it is. You saw the groundworks there, but also what we then did was a dedicated glamping zone, and again the guys came up and just set up in a defined area, and it worked brilliantly well. So yeah, it was good fun.
The one after Conrad's ride, I went back. The car was there, so we went back. Next day, a taxi took me down and dropped me off. Yeah, and he dropped me off at the other side on the Leamington Rugby Club side. Is that what it's called?
Oh, right.
And I said, mate, this isn't it. I looked at it. I was not here last night. This is not what you're thinking. Did the alcohol get the better of me? I can't remember this. I thought, nah, mate, this isn't. He said, yes. You can. It was an Asian guy. He said, yes. You can walk through. You can walk through. I said, you sure?
Yeah, there is a track.
I got Google Maps and I looked at it. I thought, oh yeah, it's the other side. I said, yeah, you can walk the path through. And I walked on Lemon RC side. Could you walk through? Could you? Oh man, you could not. I was in flip flops, shorts. I ended up over fences, through ditches, covered in nettles, things, and got the other side. But that spot for festival is perfect. There's only there's 2 houses there I could see on the Leamington Rugby Club side. Yeah. And the old Leamingtonian side is just isolated. Perfect for 200 bikers or a bunch of music or 34 rugby teams.
Yeah, well, this is, put into context and scale, we had over 4,000 visitors, including the rugby teams. We had 4,000 visitors.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Yeah, so we ramped it from yes, we used an online ticketing system, a really, really good one actually. And again, another thing we started doing when it got to a certain level. And we did online ticketing in advance. People could buy, they can pay, pitch up and pay. because it is weather sensitive
Mhm.
for people who are not rugby people and who don't necessarily get used to getting rained on all year. But
Mhm.
the nice thing is that it helped us by offering the ability to purchase tickets in advance, because you can get an idea of the numbers committing, and you also meant that you're getting the money up front. So
Mhm.
really good model.
That sounds good, mate. Question: You are the so you're. Let me get this right. In fact, yeah, let me get this right. Santander.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
You're the MD of transaction banking.
that's right. Yeah.
Before I get to my next question, explain to me transaction banking, because I what's transaction banking in
So
layman's terms?
in
'Cause I'm
layman's
gonna,
terms, really simple. It's moving money from A to B. That's what transactions, payment transactions, basically. So if
predominantly
you're
digital. It's digital now, right?
digital, physical cash,
Okay.
all sorts, single currency, multi-currency, single country, moving money around the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the kind of industry, part of the industry that I work in. Yeah,
Mhm.
payments and transaction banking.
Yeah. So I've got over the last few years, I've noticed predominantly officers, I think, moving into the banking industry, but also a lot of ex rankers, so privates and upwards. I mean, Chris Ashford, who came on one of the shows, he got out of the military as a private, and he works down in banking. Oh, I might get this wrong. Yeah, he does. He's in banking in the city. So he's got me. It's not something I've gone into. I didn't go in that branch, but um, it's obviously something that there's some attraction there. I mean, obviously, money's an attraction. It's an interesting career, but I've always tried, since I've been thinking about it, try out to see what kind of skills and would would make you a good make it a good career for you as ex-military, but also that there are other banks. I mean, Barclays. I know I've got strong connections with Barclays, friends who work ex-commanders and that work there. And they have like a vets program. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called vets. They have a vets program where it's sort of, they have a couple of programs. One where it helps people into a job in Barclays if there's someone suitable, but also sort of a mentoring scheme. Does Santander have something like that?
Yeah, we
It's
run a similar program.
Armed Forces
to
Covenant. I
that.
noticed you signed up to.
Correct,
Yeah.
we are.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's been really good, and I think again, we've seen a higher profile of it within the banking industry for a few reasons. One is the Armed Forces Covenant, and
A
I
high
think,
profile of what? Sorry.
the opportunities opening up, and also an awareness as an employer on the skills and experience and the qualities that people with a military background
Okay.
will bring to the table. So you asked a really interesting point or question about what are the skills that are attractive, or what makes it of interest to us to do it. So the first thing is we as an industry want to support people who've served in the military, in the armed forces, and when they come out, we always find that I suppose given in recent years we've seen more of a churn of people coming out, perhaps not staying as long in the army as they used to do, or the Navy or the Air Force. And so what you're getting is that you're getting access as an employer to a talent pool of people who've been in a disciplined trade or sector, if you can use those quite sort of neutral terms, but they've been working within a structure. But I think one of the things I've seen, both working directly in banking, and I also spent a little bit of time in management consulting for banks, where again we had a massive focus on recruiting military veterans, people who served, was a focus on things like task, clarity of objectives, project management and delivery skills, garnering resources that you may not own but you want to access in order to deliver an end result, and really sharp focus. So you start to sort of piece together those kind of skills and competencies. It doesn't matter what rank. And you get the ability to apply the I suppose the experience that comes, the aptitude, the focus. It's very formidable in a positive way. So yeah.
I mean, those skills. That's not. I don't. Wrong, but that's not to say that someone without a military background can't develop or have those skills. But I think just with the nature of military is that they are you're forced to learn those at a much younger age than you would be able to in civil street. Is a benefit of being in the military. I think. No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I can see what you're saying, especially the project management side. That's something that I've realised in a massive way over the last few years, and more, even more so the last 12 months. It's just any rank. It's a shame with it, because the ex-military guys getting out, they don't realize not the lower ranks like private, lance, giant, screw. They don't realize what they've got sitting, the talent they've got sitting there. And I go back to it with the project management. Well, I've never managed a project. Manage projects every day. You manage a project in your house, making a meal, managing a flame project. You stick it on the plate. You know what I mean? But then literally you manage a project, be it operations, be it exercise, be it in barracks, be it a training. You're organising training for your team, training for your section, training for your fire team.
Yeah.
It's Lance Jack. You're doing it all the time. A lot of the time in the high pressure environments with strict deadlines to meet and with strict criteria. All again, whether in operations or whether in UK, whether you're frontline fighting troop or whether you're an aviation engineer or the guy who refuels planes on the airstrip. You've got those skills because, like you're saying, it's a very deadline orientated, even now legislation orientated and strict criteria you got to meet. So
So those are certainly some of the values, the qualities, and the experience that you're. And I would totally agree with you. I mean, I would encourage anybody, sort of listening to the podcast or thinking about, how they, if they're still serving and they're thinking about change of direction coming out.
Where's best to get information on it? So if someone's, I mean, I've got a few mates who are looking at getting out, and a couple of think, what the bloody hell are we going to do? It's a million things, but what do I pitch to you? How would they find out information or what they should? Again, because banking, flipping out as an industry, it's a million different jobs.
Yeah, there are.
So
there's logistics, there's facilities, there's security, physical and cyber. So you've got all those things, and what you have to bear in mind. I mean, I work, as I say, on the corporate banking side, but both on retail and corporate banking, there's such a high focus, quite rightly these days, on cybersecurity and protection and all of those things, because we rely so heavily on technology. We used the term digital earlier. Banking is very heavily digitized these days. It's not the physical movement that used to be. And, so again, that knowledge around the whole principles of security, but then, if you're coming out with trade skills and you've been working with technology and IT within the forces, then, these are transferable skill sets. And I really would encourage that. And to come to your question then about how do you find out about it? I mean, all of the major banking firms, the consulting firms, accounting firms, professional services firms, on their websites, and they're applying for a job, I would be very surprised to find that anybody who didn't have a point about, are you a military serving personnel or are you veteran? This is what we offer. And you mentioned earlier, and again, I saw that both in the consulting industry and also, I worked with Citibank for quite a number of years before I went to Santander, and of course, an American headquartered but global bank, very, very strong ex-military veterans network globally in that organization. They always had things on the website to say, this is what we offer you. And it's not just about, learning a new trade, learning a new profession, but you've then got the support of other veterans within the firm and the networking that goes on to provide that support, provide that connection, and back with the values again of serving that is provided. And I think it's been really smart how my industry has really not only spotted the talent pool, but then creates the conditions once people join that they can still connect up with other, their veterans.
Can you do apprenticeships? Is that a thing that?
Yeah. I mean, we run everything from internships for people for both sides to try it out.
So internship being, we've got to define that.
So an internship, what we define as an internship, and that tends to be geared towards a certain age group of folks. It would be running a sort of an opportunity over, say, a summer period to come in for 8 to 10 weeks, work in a particular area or work on a project.
So short,
try before you buy.
Consultancy, short term, paid, short term, no problem for long contract, but you both, trying it out.
And equally, I've seen, but I haven't seen so much within Santander, but in other firms that I know, they will provide an outplacement type thing where, again, you come in and try to see if you like it before anyone makes a commitment. So say if you're leaving after X years of service, then you can try the kind of placement programs which get you into the organisation and give you a chance to experience it and see what you think of it.
So the organisation wasting money as well on the training.
I guess so. But I mean, the apprenticeship it's in different things these days. When I first started in banking, there was a very, very heavy emphasis on you learning the kind of whole technical and legal and financial analysis side of it. Nowadays, people are much more specialised in given areas, so you're likely to find, if you come in as project management, you'll be heavily focused on training your skills around project management, both waterfall disciplines, say, and also agile training as well, which is all different ways of delivering projects. So there's some good flexibility there. And again, I think the companies who've done it best have been recognised under the military covenant. Now there are different awards that companies get back from the MOD. The consulting firm I work with, cracking firm, they had a really strong. They had their program was called, and I'll mention the name there, CAPCO, and based in London, Armed Forces to CAPCO, AF2C. That was their whole program, and very, very strong intake of veterans to do project management and to learn, how they deploy their skills there, and really, really terrific. And that particular firm got, I think, either a bronze or a silver recognition from the MOD for the work they've done.
Oh, amazing!
So yeah, really, really terrific.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Who do we have on? Lee McFarland. He does a similar company, so it's project management consultancy and technical training. Y2X is the company.
Right. I've not come across him. I should
look him up. Yeah, good guy. He's ex-military, good guy. Just very focused and it's project management consultancy. Tries to employ ex-military as much as he can.
Yeah, I mean, there's one other thing I'd mention as well. And a great question you asked about, why and what skills. I mean, what I haven't touched on yet is the whole leadership, the whole piece about leadership, and I think that leadership can be developed really well. And again, we see with folks who've served in the military that at all levels, again, it's back to the project management point you were making earlier, that people understand what leadership's about, especially they recognize good leadership when they see it. And that principle of achieving results through others, mobilizing teams, bringing stakeholders along, sort of getting your mission executed, but the way you actually act and behave as a leader, really, really positive.
It's huge. Yeah. Was it the finest, the best commanders I worked for and or had working for me at certain stages? They were the ones that took heed of. I mean, there's acronyms and for everything in the military. Everything. Oh my God, the acronyms for everything. Right? And there's you got like principles of war, concurrent activity, anticipation, cake it was. This is not the one I was thinking of when I was just talking about this, but it's the concurrent activity,
cake.
Anticipation at all levels, thorough knowledge of the grouping system, and what's the E? Oh God, I can't remember. I'm gonna get slagged off for this later on. But there's another one, and one of the, I think it's the principles of command or something like that, and one of the letters is M, maintenance of morale. And people tend to think of, especially with the army, right? As I said, you've got 3 services, and they all have pros and cons, and especially with the army, people think of it as very shouty. You get like you just be the commanders 24/7. But the best commanders, they like that when they need to be, but then they also recognise the guys have got to be willing and wanting and motivated to do the job, because you can make someone do something, but they're going to do it better if the morale is high. Or if it was high 10 minutes before when it could be high, it's crap because it's in the middle of a hideous battle. But maintenance of morale, and the best commanders are the ones who best leaders, should we say, are the ones that realise when they need to put their foot on the gas and apply a bit of pressure, but also when it's advantageous to maybe not do that and G the guys up while the girls, and maintain the morale, keep it going, because it's sustainability. If you're on a project and it's got a deadline in 5 days' time, and you're hard pressed you're going to be hard pressed to achieve that in 5 days' time. That's great. You can thrash your team into the ground to achieve that, right? But it's not the only project you're going to have. You're going to be having projects for years, and if you turn that first project or that project into a nightmare for your team, and they don't enjoy it, or they start to hate you or whatever, then every other project on the line is going to be a drama. So do I need to tap the gas if I don't go a bit shouty? Shall I be nice to them, a bit of positive reinforcement, and still achieve the aim within 5 days? Yeah, but a bit nicer, and across the long term, you got a more willing team. They actually look up to you. They were the best commanders, the best leaders, and I think the impact of not having that awareness is highly visible in the military environment. Highly visible, especially in operations. If something goes peak tong, if your unit, whatever size it is, goes peak tong because of, let's say, lack of morale, lack of this, lack of the other, poor leadership in some way, shape, or form, the repercussions are pretty severe. It can result in the worst case scenario. I agree. And again, going back to that, even the privates, even from the, well, I mean, not just privates. Privates refers to the army. You got, what's the RAF? What's the lowest rank in the RAF? Airman. Airman, and then the Navy. I can't remember. What are they in the Navy? What's the lowest rank in the Navy?
Rating. Is it a rating or able seaman? Or?
Able seaman, I think it is. Yeah, something like that. All those guys. They may never have been leaders or commanders when they were in, but purely by the confidence they've achieved and the experiences they've had, they're very well suited to step into a leadership role in Sunday Street because there's that's something about them. I say it all the time. I say it all the time. Just people don't know what they're capable of. Just don't know. I wish they all did. I wish they all did. They're not superhuman. Civilians are amazing. And there's a million civilians out there are better than a million military. Just have different experiences, different abilities, and it's recognizing that you're flipping good at you're good at what you could do.
Yeah.
You're just got to find that thing and be good at it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Do you work with any ex-military at the minute?
Yeah, I do actually. I have a couple of colleagues in my team have served, and there's other folks within sort of the area of the corporate bank who I know, while they don't work with me directly, they've also served. I mean, again, in different firms I've worked with, we've had different levels of concentration of military veterans. But we certainly have those guys there, and again, that you can see, the comments I was making earlier about the qualities. I see it in action, and that's really powerful. But they're good. They're good people to have around.
Until you get on the piss and drama.
Yeah.
You talked about digital earlier, cryptocurrency. What do you reckon with this? You may not have any knowledge. I don't know, but I'm assuming you've got more knowledge than I have. Do you think it's going to survive? Is it going to become a viable form of currency or not?
This is a great question. I've been speaking personally and not on behalf of the company I work with. That's the first thing I'm going to say. I mean, it's interesting because cryptocurrency and sort of blockchain, Bitcoin, they all get bandied around and thrown around as if they're broadly the same thing. My perception on cryptocurrency and where they've been set up as alternative currencies to the mainstream currencies that get traded, right? So invest in Bitcoin, or you have some other kind of cryptocurrency. What worries me about them is speculation, and it's how you actually regulate and look after people who buy or invest in them. That's one of the challenges I see. One of the areas that the industry is looking at, which is different, is the whole concept of blockchain, which is allowing two parties to trade with each other directly, rather than going through, say, like an exchange or some kind of a stock exchange or a futures exchange or a currency market. Being able to actually do a trade between each other and then exchange the value directly with a unique code, and that's different from cryptocurrency. But cryptocurrency itself, I see a lot of people being interested in dabbling with it. If someone can explain to me how that's different from speculation, putting some money on the 330 at Santander to try and make a return. If you invest in cryptocurrency hoping the value is going to go up and then sell, it's the same principle. Or trading in stocks and shares. That's my thing about it. So it's personal view, as I said, but that's my concern. I think there's other elements of what makes cryptocurrency happen, which are being explored by the banking industry to see, can we make them work to be better for customers to be able to trade with each other. But the cryptocurrency thing, I mean, I stay clear about myself.
No, I agree with you. It is very much like trading in stocks and shares, and that's the reason. I mean, the reason most people get into it, I say into it, just generally say into it at the minute is because of that. What was Bitcoin at? It was at $20,000 at one point. Bitcoin, and it's down to it's about 11 now, I think it is.
Yeah.
Again, do you want to go back up? So there's a load. I'm involved there. I'm involved with mining. But when you were saying about, go back to when you were saying about the transaction between one person directly to another.
Yeah.
We explain that's an issue. How do you regulate that?
Yeah, I mean that again is something that regulators around the world are trying to put in place, things that will make it safe to use distributed ledger blockchain technology to exchange a code between two parties. So say you've got an importer and exporter, if I can use that example. Typically what they might be able to do using blockchain distributed ledger is to be able to complete a transaction between them around some goods that might be being shipped. But at the moment what happens is that outside of blockchain, you're sending documents. So if you're shipping something from China to Singapore, you're moving documents around. You're using physical documents, and then they accompany the transaction. What the experiments of blockchain allow you to do is to exchange those documents electronically between the buyer and the seller. And you're having a unique, one-off code that is just exchanged between the two parties. You can then exchange those documents, and where we're also experimenting in the industry is the physical exchange of payment. because at the moment they've moved through banking exchanges and
Yeah.
they're done through conventional currencies. So, that's broadly what's happening, and it's it's quite a well-known trend at the moment in the industry to look at the ways that can happen, with the express purpose of speeding things up and taking, in the industry we say taking friction out of a transaction.
Can you see physical money going down the pan?
No.
Why is that?
I think it will decline a lot because digital money and exchanging payments, doing things online, buying things through your mobile phone, there's the convenience factor, right?
Yeah.
So that is inevitably, if you look at what's happening in the market, the growth in money transactions is all in the digital space.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think that there are people who always want to have the physical comfort of cash, and of course there's areas of the economy and that are don't necessarily want their transactions traced, and therefore physical cash allows you to undertake business. So that's one of the reasons why candidly that it will still be around. But I think you've got a segment of people, if you think about it as a private consumer, do you trust digital money? Do you want everything digital? And some people don't feel comfortable with that. They like to know that they've got physical cash. So
yeah, I'd say there's a tiny percentage of, let's say, the UK population at the minute who have all of their money physical. Everyone must have it. Everyone must
people
have it
have a
electronic
mix.
in some way, shape. Well, you got to, because you get paid. It's apart from the black economy, should we say?
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, and I think generationally, what we see is if you look at millennials, they are highly geared towards keeping money. In kind of the new kind of bank accounts you get with some of these startup banks that have come out, and it's highly digital. So you're definitely going to see that shift. But what we see is people wanting to have both.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the stats of money still in circulation in the British economy, it's a staggering amount of money. There's a lot of physical cash gets moved around.
I've avoided having all my bank cards and my phone. I'd say I avoided it. I just never think it was a pain in the ass to set up. I think at one point I was trying to set it up, but that was a few months back, and I'd send out to ring my bank to authorise, and oh God, and then I did it last week. I put my couple of bank cards on there, and now, man, it's brilliant. Oh my God! I mean, I didn't even have to open my phone. I tell you, like, I have to unlock it. That's the security measure so someone can't walk past me with their card reader.
Yeah.
So I have to unlock it and put it. I don't have to open an app or anything. I just pay for it on the default card I've got on there.
Yeah.
I have to get a bank card out, and already in the last few days thinking I don't have to carry my bank cards around. It's just, and that's for me. I'm from a very a more technologically aware and knowledgeable than the average person, just through, let's not be blowing my own trumpet. I just that's the way I've gone. I've always been very interested. I built the first website in 1997. You know what I mean? In Neath College, it was called neathcollegesex.co.uk. I actually did it in the community in my A-level computing class. I left college shortly after that.
Is the site still up and running?
No, it's not. Back in those days, God, the internet had hardly been around. I think 94 the internet was established, wasn't it? 94? No, 89. I think it came out. And 94 sort of started getting mainstream. Not mainstream, but home personal computer. My parents got me a PC 97, and then back in those days, now you have to buy a domain. So if you want hughhere.com, you have to go and buy it. In those days, you didn't have to buy it. There was a website called freeserve.co.uk. You had to go on there, just register what you wanted. And I went through everything. I had flashgordon.co.uk, I had flashgordon.com, just random, registering random. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I think back, if Flash Gordon, if I'd kept that, I could have sold that for thousands now. And I did neathcollegesex.co.uk. It was a good one. It was anonymous. But I got caught out. I was doing it from my home. I didn't know anything about VPNs, and they had everything. Didn't go down well. How did I get onto that? So growing up,
digital.
Yeah, I mean, I've only just done that recently. I think more. I delayed doing it more of just security concerns, and I just didn't like the idea of it. But I'm more comfortable with it now. But I mean, my kids are they're 9 and 13 now, and they I mean, the 13-year-old and the youngest likes the cash. Kids like that. Well, there we go. They like to have the physical in their
Yeah.
hand. But the eldest is used to a card. He's got like a Go Henry card.
Yeah, a Go Henry
and,
card. Yeah.
And I think they'll grow up with much less attachment to physical money.
Oh, absolutely.
And what about the generation below them?
Yeah, I know. This is what's going to drive it.
So it goes back to the physical money. I just can't. I think it'll. I think in very, very specific areas of the economy or specific industries, it'll be sectors it'll be needed in a very small amount. But not.
Well, the thing is that technology and digitalization is really taking the kind of hassle out of carrying cash and the security that comes with it. Because if you lose it, you lose it, right? But because it's wider and wider opportunities for people to take card payments, say, or just be able to send a payment from a mobile phone now, it makes life easier. And if you look at what certain of the online service providers have done, you look at Uber, you look at Airbnb, they have embedded the ability to send money just as part of that relatively pleasurable experience. You're booking an Airbnb, it just is it's seamless, it's within it. But you can't pay with cash on Airbnb. You do it through a bank account push payment, or you do it through a card, right, which you embed with it. And that's what's the whole digital economy is driving better experiences for people to be able to go on holiday, buy goods and services and stuff. And that in itself will change people's behaviors. Plus, with what you say about the generations, there will be 20, 30 years. It'll be really interesting to see what the stats are looking like for the amount of money that goes. But certainly in the industry, the hottest area at the moment by far is mobile payments and digital payments, something like that. It's a real hot area. So
yeah, it's the way the world's going, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I struggle to see how you can make it more convenient though now. Like you say,
well, it's at a point, isn't it? But there's that technology advancement that moves things on.
It's really interesting. I mean, going back to sorry.
No, I was going to say you can still buy beers now with your phone, right? So you can even enjoy basic.
Have I done that yet?
Yeah,
I've not done that yet. Not with my phone.
Right.
No, I've not.
Well, when you come back to the festival next year, then you'll be able to, because we take Apple Pay and things like that, you'll be able to come and order a round.
I might be paying Bitcoin. You know. I mean, going back to Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, blockchain. What? I think that I think it will survive. And again, you're always not a subject matter expert. I'm definitely you're more of an expert than I am, but I'm definitely not. But I do think that the blockchain will survive, but I don't think it'll be predominantly as a form of. But its predominant used to be as a form of currency. I think it'll still be used as a currency, but it will not be the main focus of it.
Yeah.
Because the technical, the digital benefits of the blockchain, of other things with money far outweigh.
Yeah.
I mean, from a security perspective, all sorts. I mean, there's one coin called SIA coin, SIACOIN. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but SIA coin, SIA coin. And have you heard of it?
No.
It's not really well known. It's not small. I mean, it's thousands of currencies now. It's not small. It's not huge. Maybe like 8th or 9th most popular, I think, at the moment for mining. But it has a product attached. Bitcoin's is Bitcoin, just a coin. Ethereum is just a coin. Like SIA coin, it's a coin. It's currency. You can use it as currency. You can put it on digital exchanges like Bittrex and that.
Yeah.
But its product, its service. You know what Google Drive is and Dropbox.
Yeah.
So cloud storage. Well, SIA coin is the same thing.
Right.
Okay. It provides cloud storage.
Yeah.
Except because of the technology, the security that blockchain affords, touchwood, is yet to be penetrated, is yet to be hacked, exploited, compromised.
Yeah.
All of the exchange of documents. So when you upload a document to SIA coin, or you download a document, when you upload it, it gets distributed amongst all of the users of SIA coin. Millions. So in order for someone to get hold of my document that I've got on SIA coin, they have to be able to get into millions of computers.
Yeah.
And it's not just a case of getting a virus on and exploiting, but it's not that simple because each file is split down across them. It's a million parts. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
But the cost of it is something like 10% the cost of Google Drive.
Yeah.
It's a fraction, and they're aiming it at corporations, at companies, because it's a commercial thing.
Yeah.
Super cheap. I mean, it's been refined at the moment. It's definitely not simple to use. But again, as an example of a product, there's another one called Music Coin, and they're like Spotify.
Yeah.
In terms of the model, except they pay more to the artists that upload the music, Music Coin, but they don't pay it. The people who listen to the music pay it.
Right.
So people listen to music are part of the mining, part of the form of the blockchain. And when they operate, give a thumbs up for a track or download a track, that credits the artist with a proportion of music coin.
Yeah.
But that's more than what Spotify pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's automatic.
Right.
It's
So
it's complete
prevent the value.
because the overheads are so much less.
Yeah.
Because the infrastructure behind music coin, is done by the users of the platform, not Spotify and their offices and all the people behind them that maintain everything. It's so going back to blockchain. I think that's where it'll survive, but maybe not predominantly as a currency. It's interesting. It does it really interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're participating like the company I work for. We've formed up with a consortium of other banks to deepen the use of it within, as an international trade. I talked earlier about that, and certainly there's really good applications. I think but the thing about the cryptocurrency side is it's just about money and anything and value is about confidence as well. It is about the physical and the security side, and it's ensuring that confidence can be maintained. As you say, if you have a compromise, you lose that, then that undermines it.
I mean, all the impact on the value of the cryptocurrencies at the minute is all again back down to speculation.
Yeah,
nothing has really happened to of a substance to disprove that they to disprove their validity as a secure way of exchanging currency, whatever it may be. But it's all again, it's back to all that speculation. Right? I mean, it must be a huge worry with some of the banks, like you say, for the regulation side of it.
Yeah.
Have to see where that one goes. It's interesting.
Yeah, indeed.
5 years time will be on my phone, I reckon. It'll be on my phone. What's next on the agenda for Rugby for Heroes? What's next event?
So, I mean, we've taken the festival to 10 years. So this year was the 10th anniversary of the festival since we started up in 2009. So we've physically held 10 festivals now, got it to the best and biggest we've ever done. We are, for 2019, we are taking a break from doing the big festivals. What we're looking to do next year is hold a couple of smaller events. So we work with Tony Lewis and the 353 Trust to run a Rugby for Heroes 353 Golf Day at the Warwickshire in Leek Wootton. Fantastic day, really great day.
Yeah.
No, you've got to come along to that. It's been really good to see you. So that's one thing we participate in. We are looking, because we are going to miss the festival next year, we have decided that we're going to hold a beer and gin festival.
That sounds like
what do you reckon? Do you reckon that would be popular?
It sounds good. I've recently discovered Fever Tree tonics. I didn't realize I made different flavors only recently.
It's because you've been looking at cryptocurrency so much, you've missed the whole trend of tonic water.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Nice. Like, even this is we've talked about random crap here. Go back as well. Ignore Fever Tree a minute. Schweppes. Yeah. I always thought that if you got Schweppes. I don't drink gin and tonic very often, because gin I used to find was like a super depressing drink. But now, with the flavors, Schweppes tonic water and the Schweppes Slimline tonic water. I thought it was because it was like a diet tonic. Well, they've got enough. I looked at the bottles. There's nothing in them. There's like a quarter of a calorie in about a liter of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the flavors, even just between those two, I was excited. And then we did the. I work at a bar some evenings,
right?
And they had a gin guy in from. He was from Fever Tree, I think he was. And we went through them all. Elderflower.
Yeah, that's big. And obviously you got ginger, which marries up really well with rhubarb gin, right? So we at our festival this year, we had a fantastic gin and fizz bar alongside our real ale bar. So a massive, great bar now. And we basically sold most of the gin we had. Actually, Tony Lewis and his family put a fair dent in it. All the rhubarb gin seemed to go very quickly when he was near the bar. Yeah. But the thing was, that there's a real sort of resurgence of interest in it. And what we thought we'd do for next year is that we still want to raise money, right, for the charities, because we see that with both physical kind of injury, but also with the psychological, the support's going to be needed for a very, very long time, right? And therefore, we kind of thought, well, what can we do that's synonymous with the rugby club and allows us still to celebrate and raise a bit of money and have some fun at the end of the season, but didn't necessarily take quite so much time up to organise, because trust me, with everything you have to do to hold a rugby festival and the whole health and safety side, risk plans, everything, it's a big effort. So we did for 10 years. We thought, right, next year we're going to have our golf day, which has been very successful. To be, year 6 for that. We'll do a beer, gin and fizz festival. We'll get some street food in. We'll get some live bands in, We'll then support later on in the year the Comrades Ride Festival again, which has been coming to the rugby club now, again, just in its 5th year. Great bunch of people doing that. We love having it. And so we'll do those kind of activities. But what I'd like to see is that, you said right at the start of this, there are 2 Rugby Heroes. There is a registered charity, which is not to do with our rugby club, which does great work down in the Gloucestershire area. But we want to keep, I suppose, the brand values and the core values linked to rugby, and just do good things. Support the guys, support the blokes, support their families, support those who have lost loved ones, right? And by not just having an event where people can enjoy themselves, it also is an act of remembrance. So, bit of a deep answer maybe when we go from a gin and fizz bar discussion, but fundamentally we want to carry on supporting the blokes. We've had people who are members of the rugby club who've served. So we have a lady who's a senior warrant officer in 11 EOD regiment still. We had a guy playing in the RAF rugby team, and he's still serving. So we've got that connection ourselves, and we've got veterans who are members and play rugby. So we want to keep that going. We're just going to mix again in the spirit of evolving and changing and keeping things interesting. We're going to do that next year.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's fun. But it's still good fun.
You do what you got to do to raise money and generate the interest, because it, like you said, remembrance, and it's as much about that as it is about it's getting together, having the crack.
Exactly.
Whatever you're doing, like the golf day. I haven't played golf for many years. I've only played golf for years, and a handful of times really. But the first time was at the golf day, raising money for it was for my girls' football team. But man, what the first time, what a day out! Just having the crack, and then in doing that for charitable causes.
So we'll keep that going, keep the rugby values, keep the welcome going. And it's very important that we let people know that we're still thinking of the guys, the girls, the families, those left behind.
So that's the next event is 2019. There's no other event.
So basically we've had the three events we've supported or run. So we've had the festival in May, we've done the golf day in June. We then supported and helped sort of marshal the Comrades Ride event without a break, and we'll then next May we shall be charging hard with drinking and eating for charity basically, and we'll run that. But it'll be a fantastic weekend, and we learned so much about organising these events, and you learn every year you learn something new and different. And we've even had fly passes. So we had helicopter flyings organised through the RAF Charitable Trust, who are the guys who help organise the Thetford Air Show. They have a commercial arm who helps you organise so you're having a village fete or something you want to fly past, they'll organise it for you. And so we work with those guys, and they were the people who organised. We've had the BBMF, the Battle of Britain flight, for the last 5 years. Red Devils, we work with in partnership with Tony and the 353 Trust. We a couple of years when we could still get access to these guys, we'd also have we had some helicopters from the Merlin Force flying, and Puma Force as well. So we really sort of managed to get some of those components of interest, which young people absolutely love. Kids love watching that kind of stuff, and so we're gonna keep mixing it up and bringing some of those fun things to.
How many people on the team? Event. How many people run the?
Core 14 of us.
Me, that's a good bunch. I wasn't expecting that many. It's a good bunch.
So a mixture of members of the rugby club, as I said, some who are ex-military veterans, and we've kind of had this core team really. We were members of the club, but then we've had this extended team, right? So we've had sponsors on the one side of it, and then we've had people providing services ranging from like social media. So we had a great social media agency, Todd and Joe from the Spaghetti Agency, absolutely brilliant people, running our Twitter feeds, running all our social for us. Likewise, we work with a marketing agency based in Birmingham who
run it during the festival.
Yeah, but also in the run-up, right?
Okay.
So in the pre-event marketing, and then being there and absolutely just blitzing it all weekend.
Yeah.
So they're part of very much an extended team where they're coming in and they're providing their services free of charge. Yeah. To just do a good thing, support a great cause. And a marketing agency who did all the collateral, so everything from, if you look at our Facebook page or our website, you'll see there's quite a striking brand imagery, and that's all been developed.
Who was that?
The Chapter Agency did all that for us. Chapter Agency, they're based in Withall, and but they did all of that to support the cause, and did an amazing job of getting all of the look and feel of all the things you have to produce, be they posters, be they the lanyards and passes, be they the beer loyalty vouchers we did. You stamp every time you have a pint. You have a pint after 9 or 10 of them. And so they did all that for us. Again, they contributed that. We had local haulage companies, gave trucks free of charge to ship stuff around. Fortress Recycling did all the waste collections free of charge.
Amazing.
So in all the years, Hugh, that I've been involved with this event, and it's been bloody brilliant to be involved with it. I've loved every minute of it, even though it's been super hard work and a bit stressful at times. But nobody's ever said no. Every time I've gone to ask and pitch the idea and pitch the concept and pitch the cause, everyone's so supportive. And I think if there's one message I could get over on this, sort of great podcast you've got here, is that people really do care about the forces, and they, I never had anybody say no to anything I ever asked for, and you become good at asking for stuff. You become really, really good at basically, sort of pitching ideas, but then getting people to commit, and it's been terrific.
Well, I mean, it's an honest cause, and you can't argue with it. It's so is that you say what it is.
Yeah,
it's what we want, and it would take a moron to say no. In most cases, obviously, in other cases, it's not. It might be other issues, but it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm gutted I missed the first two events. Very glad I met you at Conrad's ride.
Yeah, likewise.
I might see you there next year when I'm on my bike. I did first bike training session today. Cam Riders, what? You don't ride? Do you ride?
I know Cam Riders. I know.
You know Cam Riders?
Yes, they're a well-known brand in the area.
Right, yeah. So I met Michael there, did that today, and then mate, next year.
No,
how often are you down at the club?
Oh, most weeks, to be honest.
Most weeks, all week.
Oh well, I mean, if you're not doing Rugby for Heroes, you're basically helping behind the bar or volunteering to do stuff. Yeah. So I mean, I do I have sort of like voluntary duties I do now at the rugby club, and we help out on match days in putting food together and stuff. So again, the thing about these rugby clubs is that it's only as good as the team around it, and everyone pitches in to do all sorts of stuff. So.
Well, if you need a hammer or anything, buddy,
thank you very much. Yeah, we bring your boots down. It's never too late.
Buy my boots. I
know where they are.
I had to retire because listen to this. This is the flipping comedy of it. I had to retire. I went home. It was when I was serving, and I'd go back home on a weekend to Wales from Colchester, where I was based. Back on to Wales, and then in my parents' house, I could roll out of bed with a hangover on a Saturday morning or Saturday early afternoon onto the pitch. Yeah. It was 30 yards to the two pitches and the train and the clubhouse. And I wasn't a band player, and I was quite popular down at the club. And I think I was popular. They might have just been blowing smoke at me. I hadn't blown smoke, taking the piss at me. I mean, not blowing smoke at me. I'll take the piss. So I used to often, when it was short, I can't be that popular. They used to call me when it was shorter players. When it was short, I'd be knocking on the door, my dad would call him Shug. You got John Bevan's at the door after players. I'm drunk as a skunk, so roll out of bed and go and play. And this game, it was a friendly. It might have been pre-season. And do you remember you probably still do it now, where proper like club rugby, and the other side would turn up 14 people. We're down a man, and your team have extra. So you go, we'll give you a bloke.
Yeah.
So we have one of our players going to their team.
Yeah.
And I prop my shoulder tackling our own player on their team. I dislocate my shoulder in the match. Yeah. And then every time it was my left shoulder, and every time I went to put a tackle on my left shoulder, the shoulder would pop out. It was a flipping nightmare. And it started up. It would go 4 or 5 times a year, come out of my sleep. Yeah. So I had to hang up my boots and retire. Right. And then I came out of retirement after about 3 years. I thought, I feel strong. I'm still serving. I'll go and try a training session. Went to the training session, went down with the ball, and then like a simulated sort of ruck kind of thing, went down and my shoulders popped out, going down, and that's it. Yeah. But that was years ago. And I changed my training regime now. I did a lot of different stuff, calisthenics, a lot of swimming. I might have to. I want to get back into it.
Yeah, well, I think it's something that you might go away for a few years from it, but the bug's still there. And all you need is to see 30 blokes or ladies on the pitch, and you think, I could do that. I could take him on. I could do better than that. And it just builds up. I mean, we had we just on the very, very briefly, we had 4 great patrons who've supported the event in a public sense. We've had Monty Halls, who's an ex-Marine, broadcasting at the moment the Galapagos series on Saturday night now, just started, Channel 4. But he loves his rugby. I mean, he rocked up in the very first year we had the festival. He rocked up with some mates from Bristol and ran out, just awesome. Brilliant. And we've got Liz Murray, who's at the moment transitioning from a long period in the Gunners to work in a major bank in cybersecurity. Carl Hynett, who's the marathon man from Wolverhampton, badly burned in Iraq as as an infantryman in Warrior. So you may have met him. He's run about 150 plus marathons. He's in the Invictus Game squad for this year. He's a cracking guy. Seriously, get him on. He's I'm more than happy to make an introduction. He's an absolute top guy. And we also had our 4th patron, Mandeep Semi, who's a wheelchair rugby player. He was in 3 Paralympic Games. and he wasn't serving in the forces. He had a really bad car accident, which caused disability. And these four individuals between them have really supported us while we're going through all of this. I think it was the point about this interest in what we were doing and supporting through sport, but also this lure of rugby. You know, we had a wheelchair rugby star, and we've had someone, you know, who's now, you know, TV personality basically, but still loves his rugby, and it's been a great bonding thing, you know.
Amazing. Michael, congratulations on being the first civilian on the show. Congratulations.
I'm very honoured.
Rugbyforheroes.org.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, and then, but you can also search it. So Rugby for Heroes Leamington, I'd say it's through search.
Yeah, it's Leamington Spa. Yeah, Royal Leamington Spa. You know, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Feeds are all, you know, well established now. We still, you know, making them very active. We're just about to announce very shortly how much we raised from this year's festival, so watch out for that. You know, we had a target of £100,000 to raise. We've beaten that cumulatively over the 10 years. So we've got some great donations going out to our charities and one or two individual service causes where people need help. And yeah, really, really proud of it. But you know, we're moving on to a new phase, but we're definitely not out. So you know,
keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you.
Mike, cheers.
Pleasure.
Oh, I'm going to turn off the video, aren't I? 2 seconds. We're still late.